yeah, I've been just doing a deep dive, learning about some interesting stuff, and the various innovations tied to the Bible and religion at large, specifically literature, and science. So let's get into it because there's a lot to unpack. It's crazy. So where do I even begin? So let's start with the Bible. So I don't think people realize just how much the Bible shaped the world. So many aspects of it. So it is directly responsible for the rise in literacy across the world. But even in England, it was King Henry VIII, I think, who was king at that time. He'd essentially outlawed the distribution of the Bible amongst the general populace because it was a view of the hegemony that the state / the church was supposed to be the sole arbiter of scriptural doctrine, that people like you and me aren't allowed to read the Bible because we're not worthy, essentially. And there was this guy, I forgot his name. Maybe I can look it up real quick. Just go on my history tab. It's playing. So the guy's name was William Tyndale. And he was a translator. He would translate the Bible to different languages. I think he translated it to from Hebrew and Greek to English. So he was a translator, an English translator. So he translated it from Hebrew and Greek to English. They killed him because they didn't want him democratizing this book and allowing various people to read it for themselves. Because, it's like at that time, it's like you have the state, which is essentially God in the eyes of the people, right? It's like the king. And the king doesn't want anyone challenging his authority, including God. So when you have this book that challenges the king's authority by suggesting that there's a higher being, that there are higher principles other than that of the state, of the kingdom, you want to stomp that out. But also it's like, yeah, so anyway, they kill this homie, but afterwards King Henry VIII, I think he comes around and he allows for the distribution of the Bible. So that led, what does it say here? During that time, it was a period of 100 years. People are now learning to read the Bible for themselves, in England specifically. They're learning to read the Bible for themselves. So during that 100-year period, the literacy in England went from 5% to 25%, and eventually 40% within a 100-year period. It says by 1770, shopkeepers are 95% literate. So when did William Tyndale die? I don't know, it doesn't say. Maybe in the 1500s, I don't know. But we see this gradual increase in literacy within England specifically, like dramatic increase in literacy, simply because people just wanted to read the Bible. And then we see that happening across the world as well, because it starts getting translated into these different languages. And when people learn to read, through reading the Bible. And even languages that didn't have alphabets, what a lot of these Protestants that were going around the world translating these Bibles, what they would do is they would help these cultures develop an alphabet system. Because if the language didn't have an alphabet system, they would develop an alphabet system so that they could write a translation of the Bible that the people could read. And then they would read. They would learn to read. So like this book, guys, like globally, I'm talking about globally, increased global literacy. And this was done through colonization. We'll be real. But it's like they took advantage. They're going around the world expanding the empire. And there was this book. They were like, here, we'll translate it for you and we'll teach you how to read it. People learn how to read, guys. Christianity existed in Africa before colonizers came through. So I don't know if colonization was the sole means of spreading literacy, but it was definitely a very significant one. I'm not saying colonization was great, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can clearly see that the Bible played a huge role in making the world literate. People learn to read and write because of it. And we shouldn't blame the Bible for what other people did in its name, because any philosophy has bad actors within it. You can use any philosophy to justify atrocity. Someone can take being vegan to mean I must kill meat eaters because they're harming animals. I must take it upon myself to kill the meat eaters. It's like, no, look, that's not. Just eat your veggies quietly. Like, doesn't you see what I'm saying? Like, you can use any ideology to justify atrocity. But I think like definitely a positive thing that came out of the spreading of the Bible across the world was global literacy, and we can't deny that. It's well documented how global literacy increased over time as the Bible spread. And for a long time, it was the only book in the world. Here's the thing. So the printing press. China had a form of printing, but I think they used it mainly for textiles and stuff like that. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they didn't use it to print books. The first book ever printed, ever, was the Gutenberg Bible. Oh, is that what it's Gutenberg Bible? Yes. The first book ever printed was the Gutenberg Bible. And it revolutionized literature because they realized, oh my God, we can print books. Because before the Gutenberg Bible, there were scrolls, but the limitation of scrolls is that you write, obviously, it's a sheet of paper that you roll up. So you can only write so much before you have to get a new scroll. And then if you want to like write a book, you have to have multiple scrolls to form like, they wouldn't call it a book, but to form this collection of literature, right? Which was, not ideal. So the Bible was the first collection of stories and texts to be collectivized into one volume. The first book. And for like 100 years, I think it was the only book. And that was the one where people would learn to read through and gain the literacy through. So it innovated printing. It innovated literature in that sense. And then even like a lot of literary works. Oh my God, the list is extensive, man, of literary works influenced Shakespeare for sure. Heavy biblical themes in a lot of his narratives. I just want to do a quick Wait, where did I see? Okay, hold on. I know Shakespeare. I know there are so many names, great names in literary history, who drew heavy inspiration from the biblical corpus. Hold on. Just, oh my god, who's singing outside? And she's the voice is cracking. It's this person. Can you hear this person singing? Terrible. Where did I read that thing about the literature? Okay, let me. Nope, it's not this one. I swear it was this one. Anyway, there's an extensive list of English literature, at least, but I'm sure it's global literature as well, that drew heavy inspiration from the biblical works. And then and then we get into our speech, how we speak, the idioms we use. Here, just so we know that the Bible is shaped our philosophy and law, but here are common things that people say that they don't even realize came from the Bible. So, the apple of my eye, that came from Deuteronomy chapter 32. Put your house in order. The concept of a good Samaritan. Salt of the earth. Who uses salt of the earth? I don't think that's very popular, but sign of the time. You know, Harry Styles has that song, Signs of the Times. That came from Matthew chapter 16. Eye for an eye. That came from Exodus. Drop in the bucket. It's not common, but I think people have heard that. By the skin of our teeth. Definitely heard that. That came from Job chapter 19. Can a leopard change his spots? Jeremiah chapter 13. He was without sin among you, let him cast the first stone. I'm sure people know that's from the Bible though. That's John chapter 8. Writing on the wall. There's writing on the wall. That came from Daniel chapter 5. Labor of love. That came from 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. No peace for the wicked. Isaiah chapter 48. Pride goes before the fall. The blind leading the blind. The love of money is the root of all evil. The man after his own heart. There's nothing new under the sun. At my wit's end. How the mighty have fallen. There's so many here. So yeah, like guys, it's shaped our speech. It's shaped the way we think about things. It's shaped the jurisprudence, which is the philosophy of law. Like this idea that treat your neighbor how you want to be treated, and that all people are equal, because it comes from this idea that all men and women are made in the image of God. So it's like it shaped everything. Slavery ended because of that basic premise that we can't do this because all men are made equal in the eyes of the Lord. So while the West was definitely the biggest proponent of slavery. Like they were just the most successful at it. Even though slavery existed globally, like everyone participated, every culture around the world participated in some form of slavery at some point. But what we can what we can definitely say is that slavery ended in the West. Like they put an end to it, officially at least. It still goes on today, but it's unofficial. It's illegal. If you get caught doing it, you will pay the price. But we saw, like with America, they ensconced it in their law that slavery is illegal now. And it came from this biblical idea that all men are made equal in the eyes of the Lord. And there was a Christian Protestant, I forgot his name. William Wilberforce. Yeah, he spearheaded this movement. Hold on. Yeah, so William Wilberforce, he fought to abolish the slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, all the slavery, just transatlantic slave trade. What period is that? I don't know. Was that? It existed from the 16th to the 19th century. So yeah, that was around this time. He was born 1759, yeah. So he fought to abolish all that. He spearheaded that movement. He died before he saw it, slavery completely abolished, but he was the one that was like, and his argument was very basic. He's like, the Bible says this is wrong, guys. And the Bible clearly says this is wrong. So, like, because you often hear one side of the argument, right, which is, oh, look, the Bible led to colonization because they came in the name of Christianity and they enslave other people. Again, you can use any religion or philosophy to do evil things. You can warp or twist the message to create to advance your own nefarious ideas. But what we can definitely say is that the Bible also led to the abolishing of slavery, for sure. And that abolition came from the West. Like, let's just be real about that. And then, okay, so then we're seeing how it changed the world in that sense. Literature, literacy, the abolition of the slave trade, the establishment of moral philosophy, so many ideas of treat your neighbor as you want to be treated. Don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, respect your mother and father. The 10 Commandments, so many different. Yeah, it's crazy. And then we get into science. And there's this idea that's perpetuated, which is religion and science are incompatible. But that's not true. In fact, it was religious inquiry that led to the establishment of science. The first scientific laboratories were found in religious monasteries, Christian monasteries. So there was this idea that we are created by an intelligent being. The world is created by an intelligent being. He's gifted us with intelligence, perhaps by employing our intelligence to ascertain the nature of this world we're in. We can learn more about the one that made us. And that's how a lot of people got into the field of science, simply as a form of religious inquiry. That's literally what happened, because we saw in other parts of the world nations that had the intellect and resources to engage in scientific query but didn't, because they had no reason to on a philosophical level. You might see certain advancements in technology because of agricultural needs, or just some materialistic need, but no one was asking the deep questions of like, where did we come from and who made us and yada yada yada, and can we learn more about our origins through studying this world and the one that made all this. That came from religious thinkers in the West. Yeah. And an example of this is Isaac Newton, who I don't know if many people even realize he was a devout Christian. He actually taught religious studies at, was it Oxford? Cambridge. So he went to the various institutions. That I think he taught math at Cambridge, but then there was a. So let me see. Trinity College. What is he doing at Trinity College? Anyway, let's not get lost in the weeds. I'm just trying to find out if he just studied or if he actually taught religion during his time. Anyway, he was a deep religious thinker. That much was for sure. And when he developed these theories of the laws of motion and gravity, he wrote Principia Mathematica, and in it he lays out these laws of gravity, right? You know, the famous story of the apple falling on his head, and then he got to thinking like, what makes the apple fall, and then he developed these theories, and people realized there's this thing called gravity and whatnot. So he lays that out in this book, but he also says this is the quote: This most beautiful system of sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Blind metaphysical necessity, which is certainly the same always and everywhere, could produce no variety of things. All that diversity of natural things which we find suited to different times and places could arise from nothing but the ideas and will of a being necessarily existing. So yeah, he was very, very devout. And he wrote in other sections of the book as well about God and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, it's well documented. His journey in faith. That it's astonishing how we're constantly taught that, you know, like science and religion are basically polar opposites, and you can't be religious and scientific. It's so far from the truth. Science was advanced by religion. Like, you know what I'm saying? The inquiry into the nature of our universe was literally a direct result of people wanting to know more about the God that made the universe. That's the truth. That's the damn truth. But they don't teach us that in school, which is absurd to me. Like, just as a historical fact, you'd think that would be something pertinent to share, but they don't share it. Why is that? You be the judge. You be the judge of that. But yeah, man, there's so many, like even right now, James Tour, this guy, a man at the bleeding edge of nanoscience. Well, which university is he? Rice University, Houston, Texas. Yeah, so this guy, man, a renowned nano engineer, nanoscientist, whatnot, at the bleeding edge of nanoscience. You're actually talking about something crazy. You're saying that in the future, it might be possible to, because basically what he said is that everything is comprised of information. There, within molecules, is coding or information that essentially describes something as what it is. If you can find a way to distill that information and compress it into some sort of seed, theoretically you could plant, you could like for example, compress the information that comprises a building into like this small form, plant it somewhere else, and sprout another building. Theoretically, he was talking, and people were laughing. He's like guys, like this is like legit something that a lot of scientists are theorizing about, and it could be a thing where instead of cutting down a tree and processing the wood and then getting hammers and nails and creating a chair, you could literally just plant a chair. That's nanoscience, at least a branch of it. So this is the guy that's at the bleeding edge of this sort of technology. Also Christian, very Christian. So this idea that religion and science are incompatible is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie from hell. So yeah. Food for thought, man. Food for thought. Religion shaped the world. The Bible shaped the world. in irrevocable, irrevocable. How do you pronounce that word?
Irrevocable.
I got it right. I got it right. Change the world in irrevocable ways. So yeah, do with that information what you will. Let me pray and get out of here. You know I like to pray at the end of my videos to impart blessing and peace and all that good stuff. Dear God, thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them whole and unique. Thank you that you're guiding them on a good path, a path towards peace, righteousness, the best version of themselves. Thank you that they wake up every morning with things to look forward to. They're excited to live life. They have people, good people in their life that brighten their day and make them smile and challenge them and allow them to be better. Bless them with love. Bless them with success. Bless them with prosperity, with a positive mindset. Help them be grateful. Instill a spirit of gratitude in them that allows them to take stock of what they have and give thanks for what they have. And through that spirit of gratitude, they can attain more blessings, more kindness from you. So good health, long life, and happiness over this individual, over their friends and family. In my name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. This is a long video.